Okay, so just to continue. Yeah, so we have prefix, parent, and suffix. I didn't say about suffix. This suffix is showing what is the family this molecule belongs to. For example, if we are talking about alkanes, so then the suffix in alkanes are A and E. That's the important part, okay? And you can look at the names of alkanes. This is methane, so it's A and E, A and E, A and E, A and E. So this is for alkanes. These are propane, methane, butane, pentane, and so on. All right. So this is what I want you to remember, these names of these 10 alkanes. This is methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, decane. This comes from Greek words. For example, hepta means 5. I'm sorry, hepta means 7, octa means 8, right? So you know octet, right? So we have here about octet or pentane comes with after penta, which means 5. And you can see also there's boiling point of these alkanes and how it changes. You can see, for example, if I ask you, say, what is the condition state of butane at room temperature? How do you think? What's going to be the state of butane at room temperature? Say, is it like solid? Is it like liquid? Or is it gas? Or what is that?
Solid.
Solid.
Okay, so now let's discuss about that one. I want you to a little bit look at the chart carefully, okay, and look at everything what is written there. Do you see that it says over here boiling point? Do you see that? What is the boiling point for butane? What does it say?
Minus 0.
Yeah, minus 0.5 Celsius, right?
This must be liquid, yeah?
Okay, now let's just talk about that one. It must be liquid or what? Okay, so what's gonna happen at minus 0.5 with butane? What's gonna happen at that
Boiling.
point? Yeah, it's gonna be boiling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is the room temperature? How do you think?
Room temperature.
Yeah, what is in general room temperature? What is the temperature in your room now?
22, 20.
Yeah, 22, 25, right? Usually it's 25. Okay, so if you say that it boils at minus 0.5 degrees Celsius, what's going to happen at room temperature?
Heating.
Gas.
Of course, it's going to be gas. It boils already at less than 0. So it's already at less than 0. It's already boiled, right? It's because it's completely like evaporated. So in room temperature, which is like 30 degree more than minus 0.5, so it's going to be gas, completely gas, right? Or 25 degree more. So it's going to be completely...
and minus 0.5, it's liquid, yes, because it's
below that, it's going to be liquid, and below that it's going to be solid. Well, I don't know exactly when it's liquid and when it's solid, but at least we know that higher than minus 0.5, it's gas, okay? But definitely it's going to be liquid, and I don't know at which temperature it's going to be solid. I really don't know. Okay, so I wanted to remember all these 10 names of these alkanes. Yes, so one more thing we need to know as well is substituents such as, for example, CH3 or CH2CH3, which is alkyl. So these substituents are called alkyl groups. Okay, these are called alkyl groups. So what's going to happen is that, for example, one of the hydrogen in methane might be substituted with something, right? Or if we remove this one, it's going to be CH3. So is this CH3 is alkyl, which is methyl group. So it was methane, right? But after we removed one hydrogen, it became methyl group, okay? The same thing about ethyl group. So we remove one hydrogen here, so it's going to be ethyl group. Now, the same thing is going to be with propyl. So like, you know, we remove, if we remove this, this hydrogen is going to be propyl group. If we remove this hydrogen, it's going to be isopropyl group because we're doing it from the middle of the propane. Okay.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, so look, two different cases to remove hydrogen. The first one, hydrogen is removed either from here, either from here. Okay. For example, and then you have this vacancy at the chain, at the end of the chain, right? So there is no hydrogen here. So then it's called propyl group, straight chain. But if you remove this green one over here, right? So remove H from the inside carbon, so from the middle carbon. So you remove H from the middle carbon, then it's gonna be not propyl group, but isopropyl group. Okay, so it's a branched chain. Because you can attach something here, for example, CH3, so you can make it like branched one. Okay, do you guys understand?
Yes, yes.
All right, so these are just common alkyl groups, and I want you to remember, just it's not difficult. You just need to add YL to, so methane is going to be methyl, ethane is going to be ethyl, propane is going to be propyl, butane, butyl, pentane, pentyl. If you find something like that, you should just understand that this is just something which do not have one hydrogen. Now let's just look at primary carbons and secondary carbons and tertiary carbons and quaternary carbons. What is different between them? The primary carbon, you can see that it has 3 hydrogens here, but one of bonds with carbon is just some kind of organic group. That's why it's primary carbon. Secondary carbon, when it has 2 organic groups, that's the secondary carbon. And tertiary, when it has 1, 2, 3 organic groups, some kind of group, rather than hydrogen. Okay, so those are tertiary, secondary, primary, and this is the quaternary group. Basically, quaternary group is like carbon, which is related to another carbon, like carbon, 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 carbon. Okay, and then there is something else, something like this. That's the quaternary carbon. Now let's just see the name of alkanes and we'll finish here. So how to name these alkanes? First of all, what we need to do, we need to find the longest chain, continuous chain of carbons and name the chain according to the number of carbon atoms it contains. For example, if you look at this one here, so we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the longest chain, right? Okay, so we know that it's going to be pentane, right? And then there is some kind of substitution, which is this one. But the longest chain, according to the longest chain, is going to be pentane because there are 5 carbons in there. Then we need to number the carbon atoms in the main chain, beginning at the end near the first branch point. So okay, we can number it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could do the same thing from here, but it will be the same result. Okay. All right. So we numbered the carbons in the longest chain. In the longest chain. Okay. So we numbered it and. We found that there is 5 carbons, and now we know that we have 5 carbons, and we know which side we need to start numbering. So we need to start numbering from the side which is the closest to the branched situation. That's the branched one, right? This is a branched situation over here, so that we need to start from here, not from here. Okay, because it's close to the branched situation. Then we need to identify the branching substituent. So in this particular case, it's methyl, right? And then we need to write the name as a single word. Okay, so using hyphens to separate the numbers from the different prefixes and commas to separate numbers if necessary. If two or more different substituent groups are present, cite them in alphabetical order. For example, if we have another substituent, we need to see which one is like first in alphabetical order. Okay, and then write the name. For example, for this one, it's gonna be 2 because we have branched a substituent on the second carbon, 2-methyl pentane. So we have this hyphen between number and the word. So it's 2-methyl pentane. The other one is, so the longest chain is over here. So it's going to be hexane, but what kind of hexane? So on the third carbon, we have 2 substituents, right? Okay, so on the third one, we have 3, which is this one. Another 3, which is this one. Then we have D, which is this, 2 of them, right? So D means 2. D-methyl hexane. Okay. Is it clear what we're doing here?
Doctor, can you repeat this one?
Okay, so we have longest chain is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? It's like this way. It's a longest
Yes.
chain. Okay. On the third carbon, we have 2 attaching methyl groups, one and the other one, right?
Yes.
So which means that we have dimethyl because we have like 2 of them, one and the one. So these 2. But they are attached to the third carbon. Because of that, we have 3 for one, 3 for another one, then D-methyl hexane. Is it clear or not?
The 3 for CH3.
Yes. Okay, let me show again. Look, we have 1, 3. It's for this one. Why? Because it's attached to the carbon, which is the number 3. Okay, so this one is for this one. Okay.
Okay.
So we have 2 of these. This is one, this is another one, right? So this is why it's D-methyl. So this is called methyl. This is called methyl. So D-methyl hexane, because this is hexane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the hexane here. Is it clear or not?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Now let's just look at the this example, this one over here. So now we have the chain as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it's a hexane. It's going to be hexane. Okay, we have this hexane here, but we have substituents at the third carbon, right? One is ethyl. This is ethyl group, and one is methyl group. Okay, how we write it? As we said at the previous case, we need to start with alphabetic naming. So in this case, ethyl comes first because it's alphabetic. So that how to now name it? So 3-ethyl, why it's 3? Because it's on the third carbon here. Why it's ethyl? Because this is ethyl. Then why it's 3 here? Because this methyl comes to the third carbon here. Why it's methyl? Because this is methyl. Why it's hexane? Because the whole this chain is hexane. Okay?
Okay.
All right. This is just, again, properties of alkanes like melting point, boiling point. So you can just look at this one and see what is the melting point and the boiling point of this stuff. Okay. Okay, so we have some properties of alkanes. Maybe we can just finish here. So properties is the following, that the low molecular weight alkanes are volatile, so they can evaporate quickly. And okay, let's just stop here, and then we just continue next time from the properties. Oh, I'm sorry, just do you guys have questions about this one? I'm sorry, I just closed this one, just share it. Do you guys have questions?
Yes, doctor, I have some question.
Yeah.
First one regarding to our quiz that we had.
Yeah.
The questions was not difficult, but I had some simple errors. I have to make a request to you. Would it be possible to have a quiz for next session?
What do you mean? Which quiz?
Again, for next session, we make a quiz. Is it possible for you?
Okay, so I'm sorry, but look, we have the quiz and we have time to prepare for that, because I told you that.
Yeah, I know. I participate in this quiz, but I want to ask: is it
Okay.
possible?
No, I'm sorry, but no, I'm sorry. We cannot have the quiz, makeup quiz, just for that reason. Okay, I just want you two guys to have this approach. It's very important. We have just one moment where we need to show our skills and abilities, and we are preparing for that point and for that time, and we need to be ready maximally so as we can by that point. And I'm saying this example, like I like to say that example. Do you guys watch football?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know the penalty kick?
Yeah.
You know penalty
Yes.
kick, right? Like 18 meters penalty kick, right? This is it's the same thing. If the player kicks the penalty and he misses the goal, and then he asks referee, let him do it again.
So no problem, doctor.
It's exactly the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're right.
it's in general very important that this is the moment when you have to prepare, and you should think that there might not be another chance to do that. If you think like that way all the time, you will be maximally ready for that point, and you will be like doing the best what you can do. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
If there is another question about this other quiz, something was like, you didn't understand, you want to discuss in that quiz, we can discuss about that one. That's not a problem, because we need to, if we had a problem, we need to solve it, because you should not go beyond without solving the problem and leave it behind. That stuff we can discuss. If you have particular question about particular problem you couldn't solve, we can discuss it.
Okay, thank you. Another question regarding to our lab additional part, because as you know about situation, we cannot come to Georgia for participating in lab part. You upload one additional lab file in our model. When I checked it, it is completely practical homework. Doctor, we want some theoretical homework, but your uploaded file is completely doable in lab. It's completely experimentally. We cannot do it in theoretical part.
Okay, so I uploaded the instructions 1 week before, and also I uploaded the recorded instructions, right? I also uploaded recorded instructions what you're supposed to do for that virtual lab. And I mean, also I uploaded procedure. You could just read it ahead like 1 week before and study. This is why I told you that you need to study that part. Yes, because I made the lab which would be close to the assignment which we did in the lab, because it should be somehow close to that, because you know people came to the lab, they worked physically, they then tried to use their knowledge. But by the way, it was not easy, it was difficult. I could watch them that they struggled with solving the problem in the lab, because even though we went through all this, you know, molarity, moles, molar mass, but it was to use it as a practical knowledge, it was not easy. So, and they went through this time, they did experiment at the same time in 2 hours, by the way, they did experiment, they prepared solutions, they did experiment, and then within 2 hours, they needed to do the report as well. So they didn't have much time to finish everything. So it was quite tense. But they also had, as you know, 1 week before I uploaded that procedure as well. In this case, by the way, this experiment was easier to do. I mean, it was virtual, of course, but inside the lab, it would be much easier to do than the previous one. It's just only about the delivering water from Burette, that's it. But the calculation which was there also was not really complicated. You just need to plug in data in the appropriate equations, and that's the whole story. By the way, I got some results which were very good one. I looked at them and people did it quite well. But for some people it was complicated. I also got this kind of emails that it was complicated. This is why I gave you instructions 1 week before, also the procedures 1 week before. If you didn't understand something there, this is why I'm here, that you needed to ask me before you start the actual lab preparation. I'm sorry. Okay. So guys, I really want you to take it seriously. It's not that simple one. It looks like that it's not that straightforward for you in general. So this is why you need to take it seriously, because next step is biochemistry. For example, again, if you don't know how to prepare solution, if you don't understand what is concentration, I mean, how you can understand what is, for example, physiological solution? Why it's like, for example, 9% sodium chloride in there. So you should have this kind of understanding. You guys are future doctors, so you should not do something without understanding. So I think that it's important, and I really want you to take it seriously. And by the way, to go back to your question, that lab was not really difficult. It just only arithmetics, like plus minus, that's all, and divide something, maybe that's it. And I don't know why it could be so difficult. I don't understand.
Okay, Victor, is it possible to extend the time limitation for us, please?
Now, the same thing. I mean, you know, then how do you think, is it fair to other, your group members who came to the lab physically?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, look,
I know. It's unfair. I know. It's unfair.
Yeah, it's unfair completely, because they came to the lab physically. And by the way, some of them, I didn't allow them to come because they were late. So I told them, okay, so you can go and just, you know, you cannot go to the lab because it's a lab. I mean, we have very small amount of time to do something. It's not a lecture you can join like later and then understand something. It's a lab. You physically need to do it. If you miss something, then, I mean, they came to the lab, they listened to me. They did experiment, they prepared solution, which was actually struggling for them because I could see that they have never done anything like that. And they worked physically, they were really tired. And then they also submitted the report. By the way, more difficult than the report I just uploaded on the website. Okay, so it was more difficult experiment than you had, by the way. So I don't think that it's fair to other people. to give you another, like, you know, chance to do the lab again. You know, I just don't understand. I just it was 1 week, you had time. You could just ask me if you didn't understand something in there. So again, I think that it's not going to be fair to all other people. I'm sorry about this one, you know. By the way, I am planning to do the same thing for the second lab. So those guys which are not in Georgia, since I allowed for the first case to do that, so I'll do the same thing for the second case. And I do the same thing.
When it's gonna be make, doctor? In which
Yeah,
day?
so again,
For second lab?
yeah, so again, I'll upload the procedure, and I'll upload I'll give you some data already taken data, experimental data. You just need to use those data to answer questions. Okay, so basically I will repeat the same thing what people will do in the lab, but what will be difference is that they will collect those data experimentally. They will come to the lab, they will do experiment, they will collect data experimentally, and then they will do report. But in your case, I'll give you this data, so you will not be doing anything physically. I'll just give you these data, and then you will basically plug these data in the questions in order to answer the questions. Basically the same kind of style we will have for the second type of the lab.
Okay, maybe we can participate for second part of our lab.
Yeah,
So, would you please to say the exact time of the
yeah, I'm
second
really
lab?
sorry, but it's next week. You know why? Because the second lab is about pH and buffer, and we already studied it 2 weeks before, so I don't want to move it very far away from the topic, because you know the knowledge should be fresh. So we already studied pH and buffer. You did the quiz today about pH and buffer, so the knowledge is fresh. And I want people to come next week with this fresh knowledge, because if we postpone this one, there is some other material coming in and everything will be mixed in the head, you know. And I want people to come next week to the lab and do the experiment about pH and buffer.
Yeah, and also this part of lab has 10 score. Yeah.
Overall, yes. Overall, yes. So one is 5 points, another one is also 5 points.
Hello, doctor.
Hello.
Doctor, I am in Georgia, and I want to say I hope the experiment in university to be easy.
Yeah, sure.
Not like the last one.
Yeah, so just come to the lab and we'll do experiment again. So so this is why I'm uploading ahead. So you need, okay, so for the first experiment, I know exactly that nobody read ahead the procedure. So nobody studied it ahead. So you needed to study it ahead to understand what is happening there. There were some people who could understood it, you know, and some people really gave me a good work. Not many, but few. But mostly the reason because people struggled because they just didn't study it and didn't try to understand, even though I explained in the lab what to do, what you need to do, but you know, you needed to study it.
Yes,
okay?
Doctor, and maybe because it's the first time in lab.
Okay, so everything sometimes is the first time, so we need to start from somewhere, right? And it's unfortunate that we do not have much time to do the lab. I would love to have like more time doing the labs, but you know, it's not about me. I mean, we have particular amount of times for practical work, so so that it is what it is. So we need to adjust to this point, and it was not very. Well, only thing you guys needed to do, and you remember I explained everything on the blackboard, then I helped with the practical stuff. You guys were asking all the time what to do, how to do. So, and eventually just you needed to answer the questions. And for that one, you needed to study. okay? You needed really to read it ahead. I strongly recommend you to do the same thing for the second lab. Once I upload the procedure, just read it, okay, and understand what we are doing there, and then everything will be easy to do, okay?
Yes, doctor. Of course, we will try our best.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions here? Okay, so there's some people are suggesting to send like easier research. I mean, you guys will have even more difficult stuff. As time goes on, the stuff will be more complicated. So don't try to have some kind of shortcuts in life in general and to make something easier. So I really don't recommend it because it's not something you cannot do. Because if there is a person who can do it, it means that everybody can do it. Okay, and I really got one really nice work from the previous lab, and also from this virtual lab I got really nice work. So if somebody can do it, it means that everybody can do it. Okay, especially you guys work in a group, so you can discuss with each other. So you can even discuss with other people from different group, like, you know, you can walk around, discuss, and so on. But I mean, if you come without any preparation, then of course it's very difficult. And you know what makes me a little surprised, and I know why it is happening. You guys passed quizzes and you got maximum 4 points for quizzes which was about molarity and moles and stuff like this, and then you couldn't like realize what you need to do in the lab. So why we are doing this? I gave you the quiz in order to solidify your knowledge and then go to the lab and use this knowledge in practice. So that's the idea behind. Okay, so this is what you need to do in the future. So you guys are studying here dentistry, for example, then you need to go to the patient and to do something there. Okay, guys, I don't have much time here left. So do you guys have some more questions? All right, then let's just stop here, and I'll send out the email. Also, please check the Moodle for the instructions. Okay. All right, see you guys next week.